First off, Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, has shed more light on the public spat between his cabinet colleague at the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and a naval officer, Lieutenant Commander A.M. Yerima, saying Wike disregarded the advice of some service chiefs and proceeded to confront the officer at a disputed property site in Abuja. Matawalle stated that the naval officer acted strictly in accordance with instructions and displayed discipline and respect throughout the encounter. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, on the other hand, has stressed the importance of adhering to due process in resolving disputes over land ownership in Abuja, declaring that he will continue to respect all government institutions, including the military. Wike urged Nigerians to learn to obey the laws, adding that government will not tolerate any attempt to undermine approved land allocations.
And I know what it takes. Even as a governor, nobody no governor will say that they supported the military more than me. So I know. But how do you see a private individual knowing fully well that you are against the law? It is not military versus government. No. If it was military, I would have written to them that, look, military, why are you doing this? This is a private individual. Land was not allocated to him. Land was allocated to a company called Santos in 2007 for parks and recreation. They applied to the former minister for change of use. The minister refused. The man went, started selling land. Maybe the former chief staff fell into their scam, sold. This government property is not your property.
Meanwhile, the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, has called for more enlightenment on civic education so as to prevent confrontations between the military and civilians. Irabo warns that it is wrong to physically assault an officer in uniform, but rather urge citizens to use the official channel to report errant security personnel so as to prevent breakdown of law and order.
Uniform is not about who is wearing it. The uniform represents the authority of the state. Whether it's a small boy or not, it is the authority of the state. It's even worse when it is a commission officer who has a presidential commission. And so when you make such disparaging comments, you have desecrated the oath. You have desecrated the oath. What you have told the commander-in-chief and the authority that invested that position on him is that they are fools. So it is wrong. And I think that for the media, it is not about, in any case, law has two ends. For those, we also studied law. I'm not learned, but then in military law, we also taught that for you to be able to establish a crime, there are two elements: actus reus and mens rea. Actus reus, meaning that, was this thing done? Is there something that was done? And then the mens rea, what is the intention behind it? So when a son says that the minister has authority over land and it's not the duty of a soldier, that is not the issue. Now, if you have any reason to believe that what the young man is doing, there is a channel. That's the rule of law.
In other news, the Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authorities are asking Nigerians not to resort to panic buying of petroleum products as the implementation of the 15% ad valorem import duty on premium motor spirit and diesel is no longer in view. In a statement issued on Thursday, NMDPRA assured Nigerians that there is adequate supply of petroleum products in the country within the acceptable national sufficiency threshold. The oil and gas regulatory body says petroleum products have been sourced from both local refineries and imports to ensure timely replenishment of stocks at storage depots and retail stations during this period. The 15% ad valorem import duty on premium motor spirit and diesel was approved by President Bola Tinubu to support local refineries and reduce Nigeria's reliance on imported fuel. The duty set to take effect November would have increased the landing cost of fuel by approximately 99.72 naira per litre. Nigeria currently imports over 60% of its refined petroleum products, while less than 40% is sourced locally, almost solely from the Dangote refinery.
It is a decision that has just been made. So I cannot even say this is how long it will last. But the president, our commander, the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces have listened to people. They are listening he's a listener. So he understands why he has to put it on hold.
Preparations are in top gear at the Lekon Salami Sports Complex Ibadan venue for the National Convention of the People's Democratic Party, scheduled to hold on the 15th and 16th of November. The convention has faced legal challenges seeking to halt its proceedings following deepening divisions within the party along factional lines. Earlier, the PDP National Publicity Secretary and Secretary of the 2025 National Convention Organizing Publicity Subcommittee, Debo Olugwagba, dismissed reports of a postponement as false, misleading, and the handiwork of political detractors. Recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja had restrained the PDP from proceeding with the convention. A High Court sitting in Oyo granted an ex parte order permitting the event to go ahead. The Oyo court order has since been cited by the National Working Committee and members of the Board of Trustees as the legal basis for continuing preparations. Well, former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki has called on the People's Democratic Party to halt its planned national convention in Ibadan, warning that going ahead with it amid ongoing legal disputes could push the party deeper into crisis. In a statement at a meeting with members of the Board of Trustees reconciliation team led by Ambassador Hassan Adamu, he urged the party to set up a caretaker committee to manage its affairs temporarily and restore calm. Saraki said it was regrettable that despite the selfless efforts of many party members, the planned convention had been mired in controversy both politically and legally. He warned that the situation posed a serious threat not just to the PDP but also to Nigeria's democracy. He explained that conflicting court orders regarding the convention had created uncertainty about its legitimacy, saying no one could guarantee that the exercise or its outcome would stand. Well, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees and former Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara, says the challenges confronting the party are self-inflicted, driven by personal ambitions ahead of 2031. Speaking to journalists after receiving the report of the BOT Reconciliation Committee in Abuja, Wabara said the planned Ibadan convention will proceed as scheduled, except if restrained by a court order.
Wish us a very successful convention. As the BOT has always contended, we are the conscience of this party. And we don't have any other place to go to. And this party, that slogan that this party would not die, this party would not die. It can be weakened or whatever, we are very democratic in whatever we are doing. So that those who are kicking against certain things, maybe at the fullness of time, we'll all come back together on a larger table with a wider umbrella like this and resolve our problems. So we should not cast away anybody with dissenting voice, but the minority will have its say, but majority will have its way.
Preparations are in top gear at the Lekon Salami Sports Complex Ibadan venue for the National Convention of the People's Democratic Party, scheduled to hold on the 15th and 16th of November. The convention has faced legal challenges seeking to halt its proceedings following deepening divisions within the party along factional lines. Earlier, the PDP National Publicity Secretary and Secretary of the 2025 National Convention Organizing Publicity Subcommittee, Debo Ologunagba, dismissed reports of a postponement as false, misleading, and the handiwork of political detractors. Recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja had restrained the PDP from proceeding with the convention. A High Court sitting in Oyo granted an ex parte order permitting the event to go ahead. The Oyo court order has since been cited by the National Working Committee and members of the Board of Trustees as the legal basis for continuing preparations. Well, former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki has called on the People's Democratic Party to halt its planned national convention in Ibadan, warning that going ahead with it amid ongoing legal disputes could push the party deeper into crisis. In a statement at a meeting with members of the Board of Trustees Reconciliation Team led by Ambassador Hassan Adamu, he urged the party to set up a caretaker committee to manage its affairs temporarily and restore calm. Saraki said it was regrettable that despite the selfless efforts of many party members, the planned convention had been mired in controversy both politically and legally. He warned that the situation posed a serious threat not just to the PDP but also to Nigeria's democracy. He explained that conflicting court orders regarding the convention had created uncertainty about its legitimacy, saying no one could guarantee that the exercise or its outcome would stand. Well, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees and former Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara, says the challenges confronting the party are self-inflicted, driven by personal ambitions ahead of 2031. Speaking to journalists after receiving the report of the BOT Reconciliation Committee in Abuja, Wabara said the planned Ibadan convention will proceed as scheduled, except if restrained by a court order.
Wish us a very successful convention. As the BOT has always contended, we are the conscience of this party. And we don't have any other place to go to. And this party, that slogan that this party would not die, this party would not die. It can be weakened or whatever, we are very democratic in whatever we are doing, so that those who are kicking against certain things, maybe at the fullness of time, we'll all come back together on a larger table with a wider umbrella like this and resolve our problems. So we should not cast away anybody with dissenting voice, but the minority will have its say, but majority will have its way.
Well, joining us from Ibadan to bring us updates on the planned PDP convention is Arise correspondent Mary Chinda. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
All right, excellent. Mary, from what we've heard now, the PDP BOT is going ahead with the convention scheduled for this weekend, 15th and 16th of November. You are in Ibadan. Can you give us an overview of what's happening right now and the state of readiness for that convention?
All right. It is really what it is. I mean, the drama, the infighting, the chaos that we've seen over the last few weeks has been the reality of the People's Democratic Party. The pro-Makinde group and, of course, the Damagum group are insistent, that this convention must hold despite court rulings. Especially, they are also being equipped by the expecting order from the High Court here, the State High Court here in Ibadan. But this is what the Lekon Salami Stadium is like. The PDP is preparing. Matter of fact, in the words of one of the NWC members, the convention is they're not just preparing for a convention. The convention is on the way. It is holding. It is going to hold. For Makinde and Damagum and the other members of, should I say, the factional NWC or the majority NWC members, this convention is a success already. There is no stopping them. They're going to come here 10 a.m. tomorrow and, start off the election for replacement of members of the NWC. So, it's safe to say that from last night's meeting, just listening to Governor Amodu Fintiri, who's the chairman of this National Convention Organizing Committee, there is no stopping them at all.
Right, Mary. I mean, looking straight at the Lekon Salami Sports Complex, Adamosigba, Ibadan brings a lot of memories to me as a shooting star fan, and I know the great matches I saw in that stadium, and I know how we demolished some clubs there. But that place is known as a home for titans, a home for a lot of struggle, a home for a lot of jostling. Do you think at the end of this convention, the real convention will be done in the courts? Because Justice Akintola has not even decided. As of today, it is today we will know the decision of Justice Akintola. They just extended the ex-parte until he decides today. So do you think after this convention, we'll go for the main convention in the courts?
Rufai, you are taking the words just right out of my mouth. It is so sad to see, even as a correspondent who's been covering the PDP all of these weeks and months, to see what the PDP has turned into, a theater of war, a theater of one court ruling, being slammed at people and another court ruling being slammed at people. It's obvious that after the Sheyi Makinde group and the Damagum group have done their own bits by holding this convention today, the real outcome of what will remain of this convention will be at the Supreme Court, maybe. Because as I speak to you, just about less than 2 weeks ago, the factional chairman of the party, Abdurrahman Mohammed, and the secretary of the party had announced that they were going to court after the Justice Akintola had already ruled, in their favor. They were going to the appellate court. And I spoke with the national publicity secretary of the party, who, according to the Anyanwu group, is suspended. It's been suspension upon suspension, one person suspending the other person suspending the other. So, I mean, it is going to be in the courts. That's what's going to happen, because this, as the Anyanwu group have already taken this court judgment, the court judgment from Justice Akintola to the appellate court. And again, remember, there's also the ruling that Sule Lamido also got. Nobody's talking about that. So it's going to be one court, all of these court judgments headed to the appeal court, and of course, maybe, just maybe, the Supreme Court. We're all on ground today in Ibadan waiting for what the court's ruling from Justice Akintola Court is going to be telling us today. Would they go on with the convention after, hearing the ruling from the Justice Akintola, or would they not go on? What would that ruling be? Would it be in their favor? Would it not be in their favor? But of course, we know Nigeria. I might not be able to say much, but I mean, everybody's expecting that ruling from Justice Akintola is going to favor the process, the elective convention today.
Okay, I imagine that there will be some legal drama today. The principle in law is that when two courts are within the same hierarchical order, the one that comes later in time prevails. So if the Damagum camp, the Sheyi Makinde camp, as you refer to it, if they're able to get a court ruling today, because of the principle of the later in time prevails, stare decisis, that will hold. And then on the basis of that, they can go to court. Now, they can hold the convention. However, you can also have later the other party challenging it. But we had Chief Olabode George, a founding father of the party, on this program yesterday. And he was stating the point that there is a substituting Supreme Court ruling which says that, only the party can arrange its own internal party affairs. And I suspect that that's what, the other camp, that is the Damagum group, that is what they are relying upon. So whatever litigation that comes, they are going to go back to that ruling. What we can hold on to is the fact that the PDP, although Chief Olabode George disagreed yesterday, is factionalized, is troubled. There is an APC political bouncer. If you like, you call him President Tinubu's political bouncer, right within the politics of PDP. And his name is Nyesom Wike. He has his own group. And you don't know whether it's APC or whether it's PDP. But all of these matters will be resolved one way or the other. Maybe if that convention holds, I want to imagine that perhaps that convention will take a decision to expel the political bouncer that is within their ranks. But all of that remains to be seen. The event is tomorrow. Let me ask you, have you seen some of the party members arriving? Because if they are going to have a convention tomorrow, at least you must have seen some activity, you must have seen some people already in Ibadan. Or are they going to arrive overnight, midnight, or whatever? What have you seen on the ground? That is important for us.
Yes, Dr. Abati, I was going to say that before I answer that question, I was going to take you back to the last-minute drama of last night. The PDP governors met last night, alongside the Nwabara-led NWC, because, according to the other faction, there's also an NWC that is headed by Senator Mao, and then NWC members met, and they were saying that, of course, there's no going back, right? Now, the challenge, really, we think, with the party is, there's this fear about what would be the outcome of this convention. It's not just about holding the convention. I'm sure that for the Wike group, it is about what will be the outcome. It's about non-inclusion. Part of the reason Lamido went to court was because he felt that he was excluded from the process. And Dr. Abati, I must mention, as someone who has, been following the party quite keenly, that maybe the process is leading to this convention, the sale of nomination forms, were actually did not exactly follow democratic processes, because we understand that just a few forms, if not one form, was printed for the office of the national chairman. I may not be totally correct, but that is what the feeder that we get from the pro-Anyanwu group. And then some of the nomination forms for other people who are not in the pro-Damagum group, these other people did not exactly get all the liberty to get their forms. So the shiver within the pro-Anyanwu group is what is going to happen. So since we are excluded, what is going to happen? What is going to be the outcome of this convention? Right? And then there are also jitters, because if this NWC emerges from here, it is expected that this NWC might be taking far-reaching decisions that Damagum, as the chairman of the party, could not take at that time for reasons that he's explained, that he was trying to be patient, he was trying to carry everybody along, but there might be a suspension, of people who, according to them, have worked against, the party. So this is what it is going to be. So there are fears about it. Then secondly is the issue of when the people are going to be be arriving. PDP members are already, delegates are already here. We're expecting 3,000 delegates here. I mean, I'm just going to have my cameraman pan, as you can see. They're going to be, it's a large, it's a large space. So we're expecting 3,000 delegates. Just because of the meeting of last night, some of the governors could not arrive. But as I speak to you, I have reliable information that they are on their way. It's just less than a 2-hour flight to Lagos, and then, you know, from Lagos, it's going to be maybe 2 hours to Ibadan, the state capital. So delegates, some of the delegates are on their way. The national chairman of the party is on his way, and the Damagroom group is saying this convention is a success already, no matter whose ox is God.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for that report. We're looking forward to more updates. And like you mentioned, even we will all see what will happen based on the court judgment that's expected today. If there'll be another one after today, it has been cited a number of times. But thank you very much. We look forward to more updates from Ibadan.